Let's go, baby. What's going on, Jesse? This is the Big Idea 2 Bestseller podcast. And folks, you're in for a guy who just completed an absolute savage Ironman experience. But his best-selling book, The Will to Endure, a story of rediscovering hope, unlocking mental resilience, and building a life you are proud of. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jesse Bruce.
Hello.
Jesse, I'm pumped to have you on, man, because not only do you have an incredible book, not only do you have an incredible story, but you literally day in and day out live everything and do everything that you talk about. So just for the people who are listening here to get to know you at a super high level, walk me through kind of the high level version of your story and how you ended up deciding to put this into book form.
I guess if you can just sum up my story, it started as a struggling kid, and that led to depression, addiction, ultimately led to incarceration. But after years of struggle and bouncing off the bottom, finally gained the strength to turn my life around. One of the bottoms was watching Iron Man on TV and just being mesmerized. And it was a point where you could see every bone in my body. I was abusing my body. I couldn't eat. I had done a lot of damage. I lost a lot of friends, my family, and I was just mesmerized by the challenge, the course. And it was a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, 42.2 kilometer run. And sorry, I don't know what that is in miles. 26 miles for the run. But I remember just being mesmerized and just saying, one day I'm going to call myself an Ironman. And after more years of struggle, I finally got my act together enough to get back into school, grinded, worked hard, scraped by, graduated college and then university, and then started my business, all the while training, becoming an elite obstacle course racer. And then it was time to start my Ironman. So turning my life around, started a multi-million-dollar business, a gym, competed in everything from 24-hour endurance events. Just finished my fifth Ironman on Sunday, over 10 70.3s, marathons, Boston, multiple high roxes, many podiums, and still going, still living, and ultimately, just hope that it's a message of hope that anyone can rewrite their story.
Man, what's been the hardest challenge that you've taken on? Because you just listed, you've done everything that people think about or read about, right? They're like, oh, maybe I'll do that one day. You've kind of done them all. What's been your most difficult and your most fun or rewarding?
I would say I honestly have to give it to the Ironman distance. I've done 24-hour obstacle courses. I came in third place at World's Toughest after running in for 23 and a half hours. But there's something about the Ironman distance that just challenges you. The grind of the swim, that long bike. You're on that bike for 4 or 5 hours, and then a marathon finish. It is, psychologically, physically, emotionally damaging. Like just so hard and just to keep going. So, definitely the most rewarding at the finish. I don't know about fun. Maybe maybe like transitions. But
So tell me a little bit more about this though, because you've had, and your book is all about, unlocking mental resilience, building a life you're proud of. You've built some great businesses, which we're going to talk about here in a bit. But what I want to kind of understand and what I think will be really helpful for listeners is like, what keeps you going, right? Like doing these things and changing your life and making the decision and working through things is hard. What for you keeps you going? What's the bigger purpose? What's the reason? What's your technique? What are the things that you've done that have helped you be able to get to that level of accomplishment?
for me, it's I was always just trying to outrun the person I was yesterday. Always just trying to be living proof that anyone can change their life around. And I remember how painful those years were, and how much damage I caused to people, especially the people closest to me. And I think about the people that are out there suffering and struggling. And I just continuously want to be an example that anyone can pull themselves out of the gutter and turn their life around and build a life they can be proud of and their family can be proud of and their friends. And yeah.
And when you're in that and you just finished the swim, we'll talk Ironman. You finished the swim, you finished the bike ride. For most people, both of those things are like, holy smokes, big days. You now have to go run a marathon after that. What are the thoughts that are going through your head when you're about to make that switch from, all right, all that's left is a marathon? Like what goes through your head when you're making that switch? Do you feel like you're on the final thing, or do you feel like, okay, now the hardest part's about to begin?
Yeah, well, when you're swimming for 3.8 kilometers, you're typically about an hour. That last 10 minutes, you just can't wait to get out of the water and on your bike. And then you're hopping on your bike for 180K, over 100 miles, whatever that math is. And again, the first, 150, the first three quarters of it feels good. And then you just can't wait to get off the bike and get into your run. And then for me, I'm a runner. I'm a poor swimmer. Running's my strength. I'm a pretty good cyclist too. So it's just finally getting on the run. And it's interesting. The run actually feels pretty good getting off your bike. You feel light. You actually got to make sure you're not going too fast. So it's just like this life. It's actually dialing it back. It's less about fighting and grinding through and more about breathing and being patient and staying tall. It's a long race. You have 3 hours of running. So you're not going to win it in the first bit. So you take it mile by mile, aid station by aid station. You have your paces. You did the work. Another thing is, making sure you put in the work, and you should be okay. I love just hanging on to my pace, and there's just something about this, especially the second half of the Ironman run, where you really come face to face with yourself and everything you've ever been through. And I put that in detail in
Yeah.
the book, and it's actually quite emotional experience. You have a long time out there to think.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I've never done an Ironman, but I remember one New Year's Eve. Me and my buddies, we were having a couple drinks, and we were like, "Let's do something crazy," right? And so we kind of were talking about some physical challenges, and we settled on 100-mile bike ride.
Oh
And I was
man.
like, "Let's freaking do it!" Like I barely ride a bike, but I was like, "I got a Peloton in my house. Like let's do this thing." So we then said, well, like, how long do we need to prepare? And I was like, well, I got my buddies, one of my really good friends' wedding in about 6 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks. And I want to like take this training seriously, but I know I'm going to drink. I know I'm not going to do it. And then I have a couple travel trips. So I need to get this done ASAP. So I gave myself 6 weeks. And by middle of February, I had like my training plan. And then I did a 100-mile bike ride on my Peloton in the living room of my house. It
Oh
took
wow.
me it took me so long. And I can't imagine swimming for another hour and then running for 3+ hours on the back end of it. But it is so amazing to push yourself to limits, and the preparation, the diet, the mentality. I mean, it really does combine a little bit of everything in your
Yeah.
life. And then the day of, no amount of preparation is going to get you ready for the actual game day and what you're going to need to do to actually perform and finish, right? And that's something different for me, like than when I play golf or when I play basketball. It's a different type of mental fortitude, different type of mental energy that leads you to completion. So I just love hearing you talk about this, and I mean it's so fun and so impressive. And I want to kind of transition more into the book and the business side of everything. Why did you decide to share your story, and why did you decide to write a book?
It was always something I felt like I should do. I've taken a lot from this world, and I've hurt a lot of people, and I thought it was one way that I could give back and to share my story, to give young people some hope, parents of young people struggling some hope. Let people see the human side. There's a human. behind there. We all make mistakes. We all do dumb stuff. I didn't want to be a drug addict. I didn't want to be depressed and have low self-esteem. I didn't know what I was getting into when I started doing drugs and drinking. I didn't know it was going to ruin my life, ruin my family's life. So it's a selfish disease, but at the same time, people are broken. So I felt it was my responsibility for everything I took and to give back. And of course, for me, it's why I started a gym, why I initially wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to help. I knew what it felt like to hurt and feel empty and to feel like you think you permanently, damaged yourself. And so I wanted to be that hope for other people that there is a finish line, there is light at the end. You just gotta, hang on step by step, day by day, hold on to that little sliver of hope. It gets bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that, man. I appreciate you just being really honest about all of those things because that's why it's so powerful and that's why you're able to do it. And so, how did you then build the gym? Right? It's not like you had all this gym experience. So you want to be a personal trainer. How did this turn into a multi-million dollar gym with multiple locations?
Initially, I wanted to be a personal trainer, so that's what got me to fitness and health promotion. So I get my personal trainer certificate, a 2-year diploma. And then I did very well. I finished the top of my class and was able to bridge into university 3rd year for a kinesiology degree. And as I wanted to put more letters by my name. And then when I finished that, I knew I wanted to build a home. I wanted to build a community for people. The physical training is only one piece of the pie. In order to really change your life, to turn it around, to overcome all that stuff you struggle with, it's the physical training. It's community. It's people behind you, people that care about you. It's having a safe place that you can go to where you feel like you belong and where you feel like you fit in. And I always wanted that. So I actually stayed and I took business because I didn't know how to, start. And then after I started my own, or while I was taking business, I actually started my own obstacle course training camp. This was when Spartan Race and Tough Mudder was exploding. So I uh, I entered a pitch competition. I got a small investor. I bought a van. I filled it up. I had limited funds, so I got everything I could that you can push, pull, drag, carry. I filled buckets up with sand. I had rocks. I had tires. I had sledgehammers, and then some typical or some of your regular gym stuff too. And then I ran these camps at local parks in Toronto. All of them had a hill too. So it started there, and then I would we do a small circuit. People do a measurable course, and they can work their way from the 1, 2, or 3K option because we always want to grow and get better and challenge ourselves as part of the overcoming and changing. And then from there, a gentleman saw what I was doing. I was also having a lot of success in endurance racing, so I was making a name for myself. Partnered with a gentleman. We opened a gym on the other side of Toronto. And then, as much as that didn't, it, I don't want to call it not successful because we started something special together. It was magical. We started a community. We had 100 of us that were racing obstacle course races around North America, went to some cool places. But ultimately, the business failed. It didn't have the support. But one of those members of that gym was always a good friend of mine and someone who stuck out to me and someone I really looked up to. And he saw how unhappy I was and that I was meant to lead. And he said, Jesse, what you created changed my life, and I want to support you with my talent and some finances, and I want to build something amazing together with you. So right there, I was like, let's freaking go. And then from there, it turned into one gym on the east side of Toronto. It's packed, 48 people classes, membership wait list, 8 classes a day, all full. And then we were about to open, the pandemic hit. So that had to pause. And then we opened up a gym on the other side of Toronto in the West End, and then opened up downtown about a year after that. And now we're opening in Ottawa, so the capital of Canada, literally on August 15th. So
Let's go.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, when you look at the book and it ties in everything, I mean, you share so much greatness in this book. For those of you that don't have a copy yet, go grab it. It's called The Will to Endure by Jesse Bruce. There it is. An elite cover and an elite story, but written by a better guy. But as you think ahead, right? You look at some of the reviews online and they're fantastic, man. Like people are really resonating with this. What's it been like to you? You said earlier it was your responsibility to share your message and to write your book. Now that it's out there, now that you're seeing dozens and dozens of people, hundreds and hundreds of people get the book, what has it meant to you, and what's kind of been the feedback you've received?
Yes, it's meant the absolute world. There was a lot of nights, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of nights I woke up in the middle of the night wondering if I should put that part in the book or not. I was wondering how people were going to take it. I was worried how my family was going to take it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it came down to the person that it may help. And you can't just put the good stuff in there without the bad stuff. So it had to be raw. I had to put everything in there. And I was stressing out when it first came out. And then to get the response I've gotten has been just um, maybe some of the best moments of my whole life, to see people and then getting messages from people I haven't even met or don't know. People have recognized me in the street a few times saying thank you for writing my book. Parents, man, I'm getting emotional right now. I don't know if it's this Iron Man I just ran a couple days ago or what, but uh, yeah, touched, honored, humbled, all the things.
Yeah, it's really a powerful thing, and especially when you write a book like yours, because you put the real truth in there, right? It's not just that you were just sharing one thing, you were sharing your story, you were sharing your journey, you were sharing the ups and the downs. And I think that one of the greatest compliments an author can receive is somebody who doesn't know you reaches out to you and says, your book changed my life, or your book really made a difference for my kids, or whatever it may be, depending on the type of book. And I want you to know, man, that you've inspired so many people, and I know the feelings that it's bringing up, and it's just the beginning. The book's still early on in its adventure, but it's already changing the world. And you can use this now as you continue to open more gyms, as you continue to do more Ironmans, as you continue to do all of the things that you talk about, because now this book's out there and people for the next decade plus and beyond will be able to pick this up and they'll be able to be inspired by it. So, as you look ahead here, Jesse, like what's next for you? What's next for the book? What's next for the business? What's next for your endurance challenges? Like what's on the upcoming radar?
So yeah, just try to get the book in more people's hands. I have some speaking events coming up. Uh, who knows with the gym? I don't try to. One thing I stopped doing was looking too far ahead. Don't think about the end goal. Just think about the next goal. Be patient, just like when you're running an Ironman. I have such an incredible team I work with. So it's actually unbelievable how good they are. And I was able to write this book because of them. So it's amazing how over time people believe in what I don't want to say I built it because I had just a hand in building it. There's a lot of people behind this. And then as for racing, I don't know. I got my ass kicked in an Ironman on Sunday. I didn't put the required work in. I did pretty good, but it wasn't like the one in the book. So next year, I think I got to get back after it. High Rocks World Champs is in Hong Kong, so I don't know. It's hard to decide. I love running. I love being in the arena and the High Rocks. I don't love swimming, but I do love biking and running. Um, so I have a hard time making up my mind, or I might just continue to try to do them all.
There you go. And I want to say, before we start to kind of wind this down here, Jesse, it's like you mentioned team. And, the team that you have, and I only know some of them, but the team that you have is dynamic. And I think that's such a big part of having success in life and business and sports. When you look at athletes, every athlete has a coach The best athletes have multiple coaches, multiple teammates. They surround themselves with people that help them achieve the bigger picture here. And something that you've done a great job of from the outside looking in is you've been able to surround yourself with people. You get a good feeling with them and you go for it, right? And that's how some of your partnerships have come about. And the team that helped you on the book as well, not just from our side, but from everything that we've seen you develop and create with it, during it, and now after it. Kudos to you, man, on building a great team and surrounding yourself with people who are bought into a bigger picture. And I think that's something really, really special. And, using part of your own subtitle, building a life you're proud of, something that you're living.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much for guiding us through this and getting it done. You guys were amazing. It was, a lot more work than I thought. So I appreciate you guys. And thanks for getting it out there.
Of course. And so how can, we connect with you? How can we follow along your adventures? How can we get the book? Tell us where to go so people can check you out and follow along.
You can find pretty much everything about me on jessebruce.com. Shoot me an email, message, always open. Instagram, you'll find it through the website. The book's on Amazon, hopefully in stores at some point, or available at our gym locations as well.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. The one and only Jesse Bruce. Make sure to grab a copy of his book, The Will to Endure, and we will see you on the next one. Jesse, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.